still stressed.
Today. It's right now.
Well, that's going long gone. 15 minutes. Some good things.
Okay, yeah, and we can all, yeah. Hey guys, I was just wondering if we could all move a little bit closer. Yeah, we need to start
Thank you.
Ready?
You look great.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the other.
I wouldn't do it unless I'm glad they do, because I found out what they change everything. And I like the way it was how it is now. But I Yes. And then Robin Oh, I. But no one seems to know.
For now, she is.
I didn't realize it. Oh, yeah. We have not
Okay, everybody, we're just about to get started.
Well, today we gather to reflect on the life of John Bates, who was a loving husband, a loyal friend, a diligent and hard worker. And so on behalf of the family, I want to welcome you here And I want to thank you for coming today. Your support in this time is noticed and it's appreciated. And so that song that was just played also had meaning, and so I would encourage you to ask about it, maybe at the reception time, about the meaning that song might have. And so we want to start. There's been a eulogy written and some effort put into it, and I want to read that for you today to give a picture of John. John was born on January 19, 1963, in Augusta, Georgia. He spent most of his childhood in Gaffney, South Carolina, with his parents and two younger brothers, Kevin and Rodney. John, or Johnny as he was known down south, had a happy childhood filled with love, family, and friends. Most of his time was spent outdoors, riding bikes and playing ball. He was a fun-loving kid who got along with everyone and didn't cause his parents too much trouble. Johnny learned his work ethic at an early age. By the age of 12, he was pumping gas at a local gas station. He loved spending time with his dad and helping him work at their backyard shop. When Johnny was old enough to get his driver's license, he began driving the local school bus. Back then, older students with driver's licenses were allowed to drive the younger students to school. He loved driving that school bus. One day, his younger brother, Kevin, decided to steal that school bus and crashed it. So that put an end to Johnny's school bus driving. Now, Johnny graduated from Gaffney High School in 1981, and shortly afterwards he got married to Christy and had their oldest son, John. One day, while working on a tractor, the battery blew up in his face and he ended up losing his right eye. Johnny took it all in stride, and he never did dwell on the fact that he had a prosthetic eye. Johnny enjoyed fishing, especially with his dad, and was an avid deer hunter. In his later years, he even won trophies for trap shooting, despite only having one eye. Now, John began working with his dad, which took them both on the road all over the United States. Johnny had a story about every state he worked in or traveled through. His travels eventually landed him in Wisconsin, where he met Jean and had his second son, Eric. John spent 17 years in Wisconsin before moving to Canada. John met Kathy online and first visited Canada in the early 2000s. After applying for a visa, they first lived in Surrey, British Columbia. Although John wasn't yet able to legally work in the country, he always found a way to help and support himself. He started doing odd jobs and handyman work, which led him to completely renovate the townhouse of one of Kathy's friends and help another friend with gutting and rebuilding a newly purchased property. Kathy's work then led them to move to Powell River, where John had John had a job lined up working for Canadian Tire in the auto parts department. He received calls daily from the owner asking if John's work permit had come through. In 2004, John's fiancé visa and work permit were approved. He started working at Canadian Tire the very next day. Soon after that, John and Kathy formally tied the knot, and John was promoted to a leadership position at Canadian Tire. Although John loved the job and loved Powell River, he was always supportive of Kathy's career, and 4 years later they moved to Victoria, BC for Kathy's next job promotion. John then started working in a leadership role at the Canadian Tire store in View Royal, near Victoria, BC, in the auto parts department. Once again, he absolutely loved his job and kept a connection with many of his co-workers from there. He continually praised his boss and mentor, Lori, for guiding him as a leader. After some setbacks, John and Kathy made the decision to move back to the mainland and moved back to Surrey. John obtained a position as manager of the auto parts department at the Langley Canadian Tire store, which they actually created for him. After much discussion, Kathy and John decided they wanted to leave Surrey, and when a job opportunity came up for Kathy in Chilliwack, they were both thrilled, as both of them had always wanted to live there. When John's job application was not successful at the Chilliwack Canadian Tire store, shockingly, he applied at Home Depot. John was offered one of two positions at the Chilliwack Home Depot, either manager of the plumbing department or manager of the electrical department. John chose plumbing because, as he said, it's easier to explain to people how water runs downhill than to explain how electricity works. Eventually, John got tired of the shift work, working weekends and stat holidays, and he wanted a more structured schedule. Kathy suggested that he apply for what she was doing at the time, which was employment and assistance worker with the Ministry of Social Development with the province of British Columbia. John first scoffed at the idea, saying, I can't do your job. Kathy said, why not? You're smart, you're good with computers, you can answer a phone, and you can make an informed decision based on legislation. So when the job came up, requesting applicants, John applied. He passed all the aptitude tests, the security clearance, nailed the interview, was offered and accepted the position as EAW. He flourished in this position. Although most would think it awkward to have a married couple working in the same office, John and Kathy made it work. One would think it would be even more challenging when those jobs then had them working from the same home, but again, they made it work. John excelled in his role and was often called upon by others for his guidance and expertise. He cherished the relationships he formed with his co-workers and supervisors. He was the happiest ever in this role. Throughout their life together, John and Kathy enjoyed traveling. John's favorite vacations included cruising and spending time in Mexico. John also made sure to visit his family in South Carolina every year. He always looked forward to his weekly phone calls with his dad. When Kathy retired from her position in 2022, John continued to work from home. Even when John's health began to fail, he continued to work because he loved his job and his co-workers so much. He worked through 2 bouts of cancer, even during his chemo and radiation treatments. John got the great news that he was cancer-free for a second time in September. It was shortly afterwards that his health continued to fail. While he was in the hospital, he learned that his father had passed away in South Carolina, and he was crushed that he could not be there. He was sent home briefly with oxygen, but within another week, he was back in the hospital with breathing issues. Within 2 days, he was moved to ICU, and although everything was done to try and save him, his lungs, heart, and kidneys were all failing, and he passed peacefully with Kathy at his side. John will always be remembered as a good guy, a loyal friend, with a heart of gold. He will always be an inspiration to solid work ethic and integrity. We will remember the quick wit, his sarcasm, his sense of humor, and unforgettable laugh. Thank you for writing that. So at this time, I'm going to invite Kathy to come up and to share a few memories that she's prepared. If you want to sit, you can.
Yeah, there's this. Okay. It's gonna be hard. Okay. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Everyone asks how John and I met.
How could a public servant from BC, Canada end up with a welder from Wisconsin via South Carolina? Well, we met online, but it was not through any kind of dating app. Neither one of us were looking for a relationship at the time. Now remember, this was over 20 years ago, and back then there was a new way to communicate with people throughout the world through chat rooms. We met on a chat platform called ICU2, which is chat with video. These are different rooms you can go into depending on what you want to chat about. It could be any subject. Now, don't get me wrong, there were people on there looking for more than just chat. But I was never in those rooms. I always chose clean chat only. I still had to filter through my share of unwanted flasher pics, but would just take it all in stride and move along. As I got familiar with the different usernames, I kept seeing the same name pop up. Now, I have to tell you, it was a very unique username, which I may disclose to some in private, but let's just say it was not very PG-13. The more I saw that name, the more curious I got to see what kind of person would choose it. One day I was chatting with a friend who had to leave, so I said, I'm going to pop up this guy. He said, yeah, I see him on here a lot. Good luck. So I sent a quick hello and waited. So on the screen, up pops up this guy with a full-on mullet, a wonky eye, smoking a cigarette. We started chatting. For some reason, we didn't use audio, so although we could still see each other, our conversations were in text form. It was then that I first noticed that this guy was very smart. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a bit of a spelling and grammar nut. So I was quite impressed with his typed communication skills. We chatted about our lives, where we were from, what we did for a living, etc., the usual. He kept asking me why I was single. I just kept saying, because I choose to be single. I was fairly newly separated and wasn't looking for any serious relationship. We spoke to each other pretty much daily. He was a bit surprised at how blunt I was. I asked him one day, what's up with the eye? He paused for a moment and said no one had ever asked him about that in that way. I said, well, that's me. Sometimes I have no filter. He explained what happened, and then I asked him several questions about it. Does it come out? Can you take it out now? Can I see what it looks like without it in? He complied. When we both started dating, we would tell each other our dating horror stories and laugh about them. I would tell him how my date got really drunk, and he would tell me he found out his date had 5 kids. Yikes. This went on for months. We became very close friends and could talk to each other about anything. One evening we were chatting when all of a sudden a large black circle appeared on my screen. I could only see the outsides of the black circle, so I knew he was still there, but couldn't see what he was typing, and I couldn't respond. Then this big black circle turned into a black and white spinning wheel. My computer had gotten a virus, and there was no way of letting him know. I quickly called my sister Lou. And said to her, you know that guy I've been chatting with in ICU2? I said, could you please message him and tell him that my computer has a virus and I would have to get it fixed before we could chat again. She did so, and I took my computer to the shop the next day. My computer was in the shop for days. During that time, I found myself really missing John. It was so bad that I thought, uh-oh, maybe there's something more here than just friendship. When I finally got back online, I told him how I was feeling, and he said he felt the same way. It was then that I decided I needed to take a trip to Wisconsin to meet this man. So I flew to Wisconsin in February. Yes, Wisconsin in February. I've never felt cold like that before. I stayed for 2 weeks in a lovely motel located on a frozen lake. It was beautiful. John took me to all his favorite places. He took me to the Wisconsin Dells. He introduced me to his friends. We had the best time ever. After that, he came to PC to visit me, and neither one of us wanted to go back. Canada Customs eventually told him his time in Canada had run out and he'd have to go back to the States. John ended up moving just across the border to Blaine, Washington, and getting a local job there as a welder. When the owner sold the company, he found himself without work. He couldn't return to Canada, so we decided he should go back to South Carolina while we figured out how we could get him here permanently. After researching, I found out the only way he could stay here permanently is if I sponsored him on a fiancé visa, which would mean if it was accepted, we would have to get married. Neither one of us wanted to get remarried at the time, so we were at a standstill as to what our next steps would be. I remember being out for lunch with my girlfriend Lenore when I decided to check my answering machine. I pulled out my big old flip-flop phone, my old flip phone, and called home. And there was a message from John on my answering machine stating, "Well, I thought about it, and I think we're just gonna have to get married." I remember snapping my phone shut and saying to Lenore, "I think I just got proposed to." So I gathered all the sponsorship paperwork together and began the task of applying for the visa. I got to the question that asked, "Are you legally able to get married in Canada?" I thought about that for a second. And then I realized, shit, I'm still married. Although I had been separated and all of our marital property was split and settled, we never actually filed for divorce. John and my visa application was put on a screeching halt at that point while I filed for my divorce. Luckily, I worked for the courts and had the knowledge and connections to get that done quickly. After a couple of months, we were back on track with the application. The paperwork took more than 2 years. During that time, we maintained long-distance relationships and traveled back and forth to see each other. When the paperwork finally came through, we got married and continued our lives together. I remember when John told his parents we were getting married and his mother asked if he was sure and if he wanted to get married to me, and he said he was sure. She asked John why he was so sure he wanted to marry me. John told his mother, "Mom, we laugh. We have so much fun together." And we did. We had the most wonderful life of laughter, constantly ribbing and teasing each other, having the exact same sense of humor. We laughed at things that most people wouldn't. Our sarcasm and quick wit fit together perfectly. We always rooted for each other. We were always in each other's corner. had each other's backs, wanted each other to succeed, and supported each other to be happy and successful. We had a way of working things out. Don't get me wrong, we had our share of problems, big problems, but we always found a way to work through them and then came out the other side stronger than ever. We were both human and had made mistakes, but we learned the power of true forgiveness. Throughout our 20+ years together, we formed the most powerful trust and therefore experienced the deepest love. I'm so happy I had the privilege of being married to this wonderful man. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming out to celebrate the life of my wonderful husband, John Bates. I'll miss him dearly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Okay.
Darlene, I'm going to invite you up to share as well.
You can do it. Can I put the book up there?
Yes, you can put it right on here if you want.
Thank you.
You can just move this and
Thank you.
it'll catch you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Darlene. Thank you all for coming to celebrate John and support his wife, Kathy. I want to say a few words about my friend John. His wife, Kathy, is my ex-sister-in-law, but I still call her my little sis, Dolly. Approximately 23 years ago, Kathy called me up with excitement in her voice, saying she wanted me to meet her American boyfriend. She brought him to meet my mom and I in Port Moody, where we lived. As soon as this burly teddy bear fellow walked up, I thought, oh, Kathy. And wow, what a deep South American accent. They eventually married and just celebrated their 20th wedding anniversary on September 5th. We kept in touch through the years as we all moved around a lot. Flash forward 20 years later, my partner Rick passed away and I was lost. I just wanted to move to Chilliwack to be close to my son and his wife, and Kathy and John. It was hard to find a place to rent, and it just so happened the people downstairs from Kathy and John were moving out. Kathy talked to John about it, but he was leery about having family. Well, Kathy got her way, and I moved in. Remember, I hadn't seen John all those years, and I knew he'd be a hard nut to crack. I'm going to have to peel that onion back. I would go outside and say hello to him on his porch, which was above mine, and say, "Hi, John." I would get a quick, short mumble, "Hi." Slowly, I peeled the layers off, and I got to know John on a deeper level. Yay, he likes me. Now his greeting was, "Hi, Dar." Through the 3 years I've lived there, we're like the three amigos. We all got close and did things for each other. There's no I in team. I was even invited up on New Year's Eve for John's special crab legs, steak, and scallops. Yum. John fabricated a little pulley system from upstairs so that we could send things up and down to each other, as there are many stairs. He even hardwired a motion light for me so that if I went to my deck in the dark, I could see. Thanks, John. Every summer, he would get out his beloved Ride-'em and do the lawn. This part's gonna get me. He then would be sitting at my outside table texting, "Come on out, Dar, and have a cold bud and a smoke." We had many long talks, and I learned a lot about his interesting life. Friday night was Walmart order night. Always received the text, "Walmart night, need anything?" Non-fail. As sick as he was even. In the morning down the line came my few little things. And he said, "There's a treat, Dar." John was a dog person, but it was treats for my cats. And I would thank him so much for thinking of them. And he always said to me, kitties need love too. Apparently out here is a lady, Teresa. Hi, Teresa. He admired very much. Her name is Teresa, and she was affectionately called his work wife. Well, guess what, Teresa? I'm his sister wife. Anyway, when he got the call that he had cancer-free, was cancer-free of his bladder cancer, he called me, which he never did. He always texted, and he said, Dar, I have good news. I'm cancer-free, and the only two people I'm calling is you and Teresa. I admired John for how he doted and loved Kathy. To each other, their terms of endearment were dear. Kathy asked him one night when he was in the hospital, who do you want to see? And he said, Lou. And Kathy said, what about Dar? And he said, always. I was grateful I got to see him in his final days with all the machines and apparatus on his face. He waved at me, uttered hi, Dar, behind his mask, and reached for my hand. I will remember that forever. In closing, I will say once I peeled those layers back, John had such a big heart and cared about his family and friends. He was a presence, a big man, big heart, big laugh, and great sense of humor. I'm proud to say that John was my friend as I was his. For those of you that never knew him on that level, I did. Sorry for your loss. And I know it's cliche, but John, my friend, this bud's for you. Rest in peace, my friend, John Bates Jr.
Thank you, Darlene. Beautiful. Well, this time we would like to open up an opportunity if anybody wants to share a few brief words, and we highlight brief, but if anybody would like to come and share a few brief words, there's an opportunity to do that right now. And so we'll just wait a few moments. If anybody comes up, we'll do that, and if not, then we'll move on to the next thing. Use this mic or this mic.
I'll use this one. Thanks.
It should be on right now.
Oh, is it on?
Yeah.
Test. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm Claire's husband, and I got quite a few stories with Kathy, John, and myself. I'll only mention a couple of them. Like the first story, I can sort of remember. Claire had to remind me, but what it was when you got Ozzy. You treated that puppy like a baby. It was awesome. Claire and I are looking at it. You had it. What did you say? It was in a basket and a blanket. That was way back then with Ozzy. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Seashells.
Yeah. Yeah, we were with you for some reason. We were with the adoption, I guess, when you were getting the adoption.
Because there was a car show at that time.
That's right, okay. But, well, we were there for the puppy. Anyhow, our other story is when we went to visit John and Kathy at Powell River, we were going into the backyard. We had drinks or whatever in our hands and stuff. And I remember Kathy, saying to us, our table's a little loose or something to that effect. And we all sat down. And all four of us went flying off each side of the picnic table on the ground on our backs. Right after you said that, it was just like timing. It was perfect. But we still remember that to this day. Plus your ice cream shop there in Powell River. We remember going to that. And that was so cool, all of us going there and that. And John showing me around town and everything like that. It was like him and I, when we first met, it was just like we were buddies all our lives. It was just one of those things, you make a connection with somebody and they're there. And you always will be there for you, and he will be there for you, you will be there for them. So there's one other story I had in my head, but of course I'm up here now looking at people going, where was that story? Oh, the other story is the coincidence in life. Our daughter Tiffany is married and lives in Metchosin, BC. And of all places Kathy and John go to live when they're on the island, when she had her job in Victoria and that, was Metchosin. You're not going to believe where she moved next door to. My daughter and her husband. We could not believe that. So Kathy and Tiffany would ride to work together. And Kathy would do racing stories on the street. She's with Tiffany. When you were trying to get back and forth to work and stuff like that, she had a laugh with you every morning. She looked forward to that, going to work with you. So that's basically all I have. So if anybody else would like to come up with a few stories, here's the mic.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? And we might have a little opportunity after as well. One of the things that the family asked is for me to share a story that can fit into this time, and it's entitled Cindy's Story. And this is from a dear friend of John's named Cindy Robbins. And so I'd like to read this to you at this time. So Cindy wrote this: "My sisters and I grew up with Johnny and his brothers, the Robbins girls, Cindy, Linda, and Donna. The Bates boys, Johnny, Kevin, and Rodney. Johnny, Kevin, Linda, and I were the oldest and closest in age, so we were the ones who did things together growing up. Our mothers were good friends, so we got to spend a lot of time together in our childhood years. We all used to get together and play kickball and roller bat, including our mothers. They'd play as well. I can remember piling up in the back of Shirley's station wagon and going to the skating rink. We used to go trick-or-treating together. One Halloween, a big dog got after us. We were scared to death and ran back to the car, piling in the back seat. Kevin jumped through the window. I remember playing hide and seek, riding bicycles, mini bikes, and playing in the creek and catching lightning bugs. We had the best childhood. So many memories. Johnny was 2 days older than me. We graduated together in 1981 from Gaffney High School. We became adults and life took us down different paths. Johnny started working out of state and we didn't see each other often. Shirley passed away in January 2017. Johnny came home. He came over to my mama's house and my sisters and I came over and spent time with him. Our daddy passed away in June 2017. Johnny and I would message each other, checking on each other and sharing our grief and talking about the good old days. April 27, 2020, Kevin passed away very suddenly. This was a hard one. He and his dad came over to Mama's house and the sisters all came over to spend time with him. My sisters and I considered Johnny as our brother. We would group message with him and tell him we were coming to Canada to live with him and Kathy. Told him what color we wanted our rooms to be. Anytime Johnny would come home, we would all get together at Mama's house and spend time together. When his dad passed away, we group messaged. We told him we loved him and were there for him. The last group message he sent on October 5, telling us he was cancer-free. We were so happy for him. He said he was going back to bed. I told him that I hope he got a good sleep. His reply, "Thanks, sis. Rest easy, our brother. We will hold you close to our hearts and cherish our memories. We love you. Cindy, Linda, and Donna." At this time, we want to have a video presentation that's been prepared.
Days pass by and my eyes stay dry and I think that I'm okay till I find myself in a conversation fading away. The way you smile, the way you walk, the time you took to teach me all that you had done. Tell me, how am I supposed to move on? These days are becoming everything that I hate. Wishing you around, looking once too late. My mind is a place that I can't escape your ghost. Sometimes I wish that I could wish it on a rainy day with you. Sometimes I wish that I could see you on my day, on my rainy day. Oh, I'm a wreck without you here. Yeah, I'm a wreck since you've been gone. I'm trying to put this all behind me. I think I've wrecked all along. Yeah, I'm a wreck, trying to keep the pain to go away. But everything reminds me of you when it comes in waves. The way you laugh and your shoulders shook, the time you took to teach me all that you had done. Tell me, how am I supposed to move on? These days are becoming everything that I hate. Wishing you were around, but it's too late. My mind is a place that I can't escape your ghost. Sometimes I wish that I could wish it on a rainy day with you. Sometimes I wish that I could see you on my day, on my rainy day. Oh, I'm a wreck without you here. Yeah, I'm a wreck since you've been gone. I'm trying to put this all behind me. I think I've wrecked all along. These days when I'm on the brink of the edge, remember the words that you said. Remember the life you led. You said, "I'll suck it all up, don't be stuck in the mud, thinking of things that you should have done." I'll see you again, my loved ones.
Thank you for preparing that. It's lovely to watch. We want to just open up another short opportunity if anybody would like to share. There's another open mic opportunity, and so if anybody would like to come, we'll just give a few moments for that now. Don't be shy if you feel like coming. It doesn't, oh, there's someone coming. Yeah, come on.
I'm gonna cry all the way through.
It's okay. You can choose whichever mic. You can choose this one or this one.
I love this. So I'm the work wife. I loved him so much. We were trauma bonded at work. We both worked in the contact center, so when they talked about you're able to take phone calls at Canadian Tire, oh, we were not ready for the phone calls we were going to get in contact center. So all the times that we spent talking each other off ledges, trying to calm down through pop-ups. He got me through my worst days at work, and then when we had COVID and everybody was deployed at home, I would not have made it without him. We talked every day, all day, got our work done, but we talked all day long. It was just a blessing, and somebody's got to say something about Harry Potter. Yeah, that's another thing that we found out. We both loved Harry Potter so much, so I've got my cloth and my time turner that I wish to God would work today. So I'm so grateful to have known him and have him be a big part of my life. So thank you for sharing with me. I love you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anybody else that would like to share? I'm going to offer some closing words, and then there's going to be opportunity to share, maybe not from a microphone, but around tables as you gather, and some of the richest connecting can happen there. And so I just want to, on behalf of the family, I want to thank you again for attending today. And I'd like to, like I said, invite you to a reception following this time, which is just going to be through the door over here. And so as we exit, there's going to be another song played, so make sure you listen to that, because that has meaning for Kathy and John. And as you exit, the attendants will help the family exit first, and then you can follow them into the reception area for a reception time where you can continue to share and connect. And so again, on behalf of the family, I want to thank you, and on behalf of Woodlawn for attending today. And wish you much peace and comfort in the days and weeks ahead. Thank you for attending.
Wishing I lived side of town. So I said,